Well, it is Wednesday, and you know what that means. Welcome to episode number 142 of The Other Side of the Ball. Double A, joined by Christopher, and briefly being joined by Suge Light himself, Mr. Duncan. Um, Corey eventually is going to join us after he is waxing on and waxing off doing his Mr. Miyagi karate training, as he might be the next Karate Kid in the next Karate Kid movie. That remains
Oh, I
to be
gotta watch that.
seen. Oh, the newest one?
Yeah, Legends.
What I
Yes,
heard
yes, yes.
is Dub said Corey wax off.
Aye, Danielson.
There is no wax on, just wax off with Corey.
Yeah,
Oh boy, oh boy. But nonetheless, gentlemen, good evening. How has your Wednesday been?
exciting.
Yeah, busy.
Things are looking up in the world of lighting for me and Mr. Chris these days. So
Yes.
uh, the smiles on our face are a little bigger than the stress lines that we had the last 6 months.
Yeah, no lies told.
Well, getting contracts and deals is always a good thing. I would presume in the world of business.
Yeah, if you're in the business of needing contracts and deals to make money, yes, getting them is a very good thing.
Does not
Indeed,
hurt. Matter of
indeed,
fact, I'll
indeed,
keep
yes.
reeling them in.
Yeah.
Well, as they
How are you,
say,
Dub?
well, taking it day by day is all I can do. Um, so
I
happy
heard
to
I
be.
heard they named the restaurant you work at after you.
Oh, I can't take credit for that. I think that
That's-
nickname was there way before I got there.
oh, when I walked in, they said this be Dubs. I was like, oh,
No, tech can't take credit for that, but I will say though, the other side, I can say though that the other side of the ball network, and I should have put this up in a picture, but the other side of the ball network is proud to announce that next Saturday we've been given the privilege to call the Pacific National Championship between the Grit City Knights and the Beach City Giants, taking place at Clark High School next Saturday at 7 p.m., which you can catch me and Chris on the other side of the ball network calling this. So some padded football coming to you on the air, part of the CFCA. Also, this is something that our colleague from the Joffos, Josh Pena, played it as he played with the River City Tiger Cats this past season. So this is pretty intriguing to call and watch. And thank you to Derek for somehow making it do to get this done.
hey, shout out to Mel Carey for making himself available to get it done because right after I set it up, I got notification I wasn't going to be available. So,
Well,
so, as you call Mel the hardest working man in show business, he gonna
That
be
I
working his
do.
ass off to get up here for this 3 hour game, where he normally comes up to Vegas for at least six. So, shout out to Mel. Thank you very much for that, and shout out to Mario Hilo for inviting us to put this on for him. We want to get the other side of the ball network to be his home for his Vegas games and give our guys, you, the opportunity to shine on more of these, whether it be the full scale version or a scaled back version. We've kind of given them a setup for both. So, trying to grow this network and grow the 24/7 Combat Sports Network as well. So, that game will be featured on there. I believe they want it to be a pay per view. I haven't talked to them about that part yet. So, we'll see. If not pay per view, it'll probably simulcast on both. If pay per view, will probably be on there uh, for the most part and here for about a 5 minute mousetrap.
Well, definitely looking forward to seeing this version of padded football. Again, it's part of the CFCA, which is padded football West Coast Pacific. It is the Pacific National Championship again. The Grit City Knights taking on the Beach City Giants, even though the G more looks like the Green Bay Packers G than the Giants G, but nonetheless, looking forward to calling this next Saturday, July 19th. Kickoff is scheduled for 7 p.m. at Clark High School, the home of the Clark Chargers. So definitely looking forward to that. As hopefully Derek will check back in. We eventually supposed to be joined by Corey Hammond, but nonetheless, appreciative of the opportunity and glad that you guys are with us here to talk things about the A7FL. Officially, still removing I think Derek is back in after he got kicked out with the ceiling fan in the background. But
I kicked myself out.
oh, you kicked yourself out. Okay, all right.
I forgot to hit the button to stream to all of the other platforms. I don't know how many of them you have connected to your thing, so I like when I'm on here. Oops.
All 4 should be connected. The ones that you have given me. So they definitely should be there. As Mr. Vera has returned.
My apologies. Had a work call that I had to take care of real quick, so my apologies for that.
Oh yes, well, I mean, duty calls when you're trying to make deals. As they say, the deal is never done.
People know that I'm never too far away from my phone, so I get calls at all times. Derek can attest to that. He gets them too. So it's kind of one of the things that we do.
Yeah, my dumbass called in the middle of the show last week.
I wasn't going to out you. I was just going to leave that one alone.
Well, there you go. As they say, never a dull moment on live TV.
Oh,
But,
heck no. Heck no.
As we now look forward to the offseason, what are some things we're looking forward to in this offseason now that the season has subsided? Like, just what are some things you guys are looking forward to as we now turn the page to 2026 or maybe somewhere down the line in the fall and winter of 2025?
You want me to be honest?
Go ahead.
I'm looking forward to hanging out with the family on Sundays. I do miss football. Don't get me wrong. I miss calling games. I miss my boys. I miss hanging out with y'all tremendously. But at the same time, I'm going to have some fun hanging out with the fam and being able to do a little bit more of the family dinners on Sunday like we used to. So that's the part that I'm looking forward to. The part I'm not looking forward to is not being in the booth with you, my good friend Dub, and all the guys that we get to hang out with on Sundays and gals. We're not a group of just men. There's girls that are part of our crew as well. And I'll miss hanging out with everybody and delivering play-by-plays for A7FL. So that's what I will miss and also like about having my Sundays free again. How about you, Dub?
Well, as Suge like tries to connect his big screen in the process, and Corey, are you ready to come on? Because you did show your face and then you turn your camera off. Are you okay? Now he's ready. There we go.
Yep.
What's going on, D-Rock? How you doing, buddy? Same to you, my guy.
Definite, man.
As he said,
Wishing everybody a blessed day and a blessed week.
Well, certainly before we continue, certainly want to give our thoughts and prayers to the people of Texas affected by the floods. Certainly a very hard thing to look at. I did reach out to Josh Burnett and asked, was his family affected by it? He said his brother is okay, which is a good thing. So certainly keep the people of Texas in your well wishes and thoughts and prayers as they try to put their lives back together with these floodings that's going on over there in the Texas area. And welcome Corey Hammond with the tribute to Big Rock Fabian with the Huss t-shirt, if you will.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Look at Corey. The only way you could ever go babyface, shaving.
Wait a minute. You don't have a retort? Usually you always have a comeback.
No, not for fun ones like that.
Yeah, Corey likes to let my jokes lay out for a little while.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
well,
So
I
usually-
recently shave, and there's, I'm you get it in, It's like calling you guys bald. It'll happen eventually.
no, it won't. I mean, I got a full head of hair. I just like to cut it.
No. Me calling you guys bald will happen.
Oh.
eventually. I know.
Sure.
I know that if you wanted to, you'd go with the natural. It was called back in those days.
Yeah.
Who's driving at high speeds?
High
I'm waiting
top
for Chris
fade.
to break out the soul glow.
Oh, God.
To break out the what?
The
Soul
soul
glow.
glow. Also silky smooth, if you will. But to answer
That's
your
what I
question-
did.
Well, good
I'm
turn.
gonna let my soul glow.
No, but to answer your question, Chris, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to basically just recharging the batteries. Looking forward to new opportunities. Looking forward to watching some more football, and of course, coming to your house and dissecting things, and also looking forward to talking some ish, if you will, the other podcast that me and Chris co-host with our very good friend, Mr. Mizzle Mason. And just looking forward to just growth and progression and more opportunities, if you will.
Definite. And
Well, look,
always fun having you over at the Vera's house when we're watching football all Sunday. It's a lot of
did
fun.
you just talk about yourself in the fourth person?
Fifth. I think it was a fifth. I think we skipped right past the fourth.
Yeah, but definitely a fifth was involved. That's for damn sure.
Well, I know this. If Ricky
Definitely.
if Ricky Henderson was still alive, he'd be talking himself in the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth person, talking about Ricky got to go play. But,
Right. Well, look, hey, before I got to run, I just want to hit you guys with all the shit that's going on this offseason since you asked the question and I was prepping myself, but trying to get the websites up and everything. So we are doing A7FL flag this offseason. We will be starting that off the Sunday after Labor Day and finishing the Sunday before Thanksgiving. We will be broadcasting those games as well, so there'll be some opportunities for you guys. It's going to be different than what we did before, but if you guys want to get involved and you decide you don't want to have the Sundays off, there's an opportunity for you to make a little cashish if that's your thing. And we are trying out our fantasy football preview partner with Snipback and trying to do fantasy football for flag this offseason to try to bring fantasy forward for A7 next season. So I'm trying some shit out.
Nice.
Good to hear.
Very nice.
Flag and an A7 concept. That's very intriguing to see.
Yeah.
How that will play out.
Well, look, we're not going to let the NFL steal all the shine from the Olympics. We got the best flag players in the nation playing in A7, so might as well take our steam from A7 and our guys who play flag as well and turn it into something special. So Sherm and I, with the grid, have teamed up to turn the grid into A7FL flag or A7 flag, A7FLAG, right? So it's kind of all coming together. We've been meeting about it every week, and things are moving.
Curiosity question: does anybody know if for the 2028 Olympics, are they adopting the 5-on-5 or 7-on-7 or 8-on-8 for their flag?
I heard it was 5-on-5.
5-on-5. Okay. Curious.
That's what I
about
heard.
that. And I heard that it's supposed to be both men and women, not just a guy's thing. So the girls, get ready, because USA's got to show up and show out.
Well, I got an extra X chromosome, so maybe I can play in the women's league. I identify.
You might be in.
So Derek is correct. It will be a 5-on-5 format, non-contact of American football. So
Non-contact. That just takes all the fun out of it.
Look, remember. Look, you say that, but remember the games that we watched at halftime at Police versus Fire, and how dope those flag football games were for the women's team that we were watching and seeing those girls ball out. So it takes the fun out for people like you and me, but it makes it fun for certain folks.
No, true. And look, if you want to do the 5-on-5 no contact with the girls, I'm good with that. But let's have some fun with the guys. I want to see some pancakes handed out, damn it.
he wants pancakes with multiple setup. Yes.
Yes, with syrup all over them. Let's go.
And sprinkle some blueberries like it's from IHOP. Blah, blah. Oh,
And some butter.
Oh.
Also, next week when we come back to the show, I'm going to have a link up for folks to donate. There's a gentleman in the flag world in Vegas who recently passed away. We're helping raise funds for it. I don't have all of the... I got you, babe. Was that Sonny and Cher?
That's what it sounded like to me.
Anyway, I don't have all the details quite ready this yet. So ready yet this week is what I meant to say. So by next week, I'll have a link that people can donate to, and we're helping with the signups. So we're going to run all the signups through A7 so we can save having to use something like Eventbrite or GoFundMe and lose that 5 or 7%. So, I mean, we're going to run it through A7 Nevada, not A7. A7 Nevada. A7 would also have to take fees. So we're going to try to avoid all that shit so most of the money can go straight to the family. And shout out to Sherm and Mario. Well, not Mario. Who was that? Shout out to everyone who's helping out with organizing that, because I don't know half these cats, but I know Sherm's involved. And when I saw that, I decided to get involved. So just trying to help out where we can for the community.
Sean's involved in that too, and you know Sean from our days when we were playing, because he's still out there.
Old ass little Sean?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Mouth of the South.
Yeah, he's older than you, isn't he?
We are a year apart.
Who's older?
So I'm older.
Oh, of course you are.
Man, every chance you get.
I keep saying I brought Chris into the lighting industry, but what really happened, God said, "Let there be light," and Chris sold the lights.
I happen to be the one standing back there waiting for him to say it so I could flip the switch on.
Oh,
So, Corey, what's been up with you, dude? How was karate?
Oh, karate was great. Trying to get some stuff done while my kid is doing hip throws and doing the old arm break when they got the fake sword in their hand. I mean, the fake knife.
Yeah, you missed the beginning of the show. Dub said Corey with karate, wax on, and then Corey wax off.
Yeah, well, I'm running out of good comebacks, so just keep piling them on when you got me down. Honestly, what I've been trying to do is get in touch with some of the leaders of the Northeast Division, and there's a lot of preliminary work. Obviously, nothing's set in stone, but I think that A7FL should have some type of fall engagement. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you guys are doing the flag, I think, is huge. And coming from me, that must, there must be more to it than just it being flag. The fact that A7 Vegas is going to be together working and improving, I think that's great. Just trying to, take the momentum from a great 2025 season and parlay that, to use the Vegas term, I think, or Atlantic City term.
Or Pirate term.
Yeah.
Hey, but thanks for being on, Corey. I got to bounce, y'all. It's good to see you all. Thanks for doing this tonight. We'll see you on the other side of the ball.
Indeed.
All right. So now that Suge Light's gone, now we can have some fun and talk some shit. So no.
Well, the cat's away, the mice shall play.
Yeah.
So, but Corey, going back to your little banner there, advocate for fall. Explain to our viewers why you are advocating for the fall, if you will.
Well, honestly, anybody that knows a little bit about me knows that I've been doing this for, God knows how long. But when Town Beef / A7, was kind of, I was new to it about a decade ago. We would have the 2 seasons, and it was like clockwork. Play the spring. That off season was more or less the semi-pro guys, which were kind of a big demographic in the A7 at that time. They would have their season like August to early October, and then around October into late November, there would be what we call the fall, but obviously that's winter for those who actually know. I guess, what would that be? Geology? I don't know. But, having the 2 seasons, it does a lot of things positive for the league. It keeps guys engaged, but also for a lot of the things that, I hear team captains kind of complaining about, to use a better word, bitching about. The fall / winter, whatever we call it, is a great way to find improvements, find replacements for things like referees, and I don't know, maybe guys calling games,
well,
and for the team specifically, you can recruit players, try them out, and get guys that need that couple of extra reps to improve. No better place to give them real reps than real games against real A7FL guys. And although there's less pomp and circumstance, there's not going to be any Fox Soul or anything like that.
You know what, Corey? I agree with you. I think that the fall season plays a big piece in what we do, especially when you're talking about bringing in other teams. Because let's face it, when we were doing the fall brawl every year, we saw players that were new to the league. Granted, we also saw players that had played before, but what it gave them was an opportunity to see what the game was all about. And I agree with you. I think that, I love the fact that you said an advocate for fall on your when you signed in, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. Whether it's actually playing A7, whether it's playing flag with the A7 rules, no matter what it is, I agree. I think that if you want to open eyes to A7 for other players that might not know about it or hesitant to play in it, give them this background, give them this time to kind of adjust to what A7's all about, and see if you can pull in not just players, but maybe even full teams.
Yeah.
Let's be real. I mean, you might have guys that are like, you know what, dude, we could play this. Let's put a team in.
Well, I mean, I go back to the 2023 fall, and we were introduced to Jaden Webb, and we were introduced to guys like Devontae Moncrief, who star for the Alienators. We saw what
True
Webb did for the Force in 2024 before the Force decided to go into the World Arena. But I mean, players like that, whoa, who is this guy? Came in and just made an impact. So I mean, it's
well, even Mr. Burns. We didn't know about him until fall.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of diamonds in the rough, if you will, when you do have a fall season, even though they say it doesn't count per se, which in some terms it doesn't, but it does keep the reflexes sharp, and it does keep the mind, body, and soul prepared for the grind that is the spring season. Because I mean, as we know, heck, we're already in July right now, and heck, by the time we snap our fingers, we'll be in 2026 already. So I mean, time does go by. So I mean, it is. It's definitely something that should be looked into. I mean, certainly any opportunity for me to put on a headset and be behind the mic and call something, I'm always down for, because that just means more work for me. Praise the Lord. But I mean, it's definitely something that should be looked into. Doesn't matter the style of play. I mean, if it's regular A7 fall, that's great. I mean, I'm interested to see how this A7 flag will take place in about a couple of months. So I'm just looking forward to just seeing how all this unfolds as we are now dousing into the days of the dog days of summer.
Yeah, and it always happens, and I know the Vegas guys are probably the same way. As soon as college and NFL kick off, you wake up and you just got that itch to play. And I do know there are a decent amount of guys that play in the semi pros. In the arenas out there by you guys is a little bit more popular than around here where it's mostly semi pro. I know a lot of guys coach their kids like I will be doing. But like we get the football itch, we might as well, put it on tape, put it on a field. A lot of those games are really fun to watch, and the fall don't count is the thing that really stems from guys trying to when they're bragging about their championships, they count the they count the fall ones to try to pad their stats. So it was an official um, ruling that just full don't count. But it just kept it kept the joke going when there was only a Vegas fall. It was the Northeast's way of trying to hold on as tight as we could. But I would say this: when Vegas was prepping to win its championships, they had falls, right? They
Yep.
didn't have a fall this year. Now it's not a direct correlation. No fall this year. A little bit less retention in division as far as overall teams go, and I guess at the end of the day, it didn't work out. But I could even go back as far as 2015, 16 teams that ended up winning the spring. Now I'd have to look at it, but teams that ended up winning in the spring, a lot of times the previous fall was when they kind of broke through and learned how to win those tough type championship type playoff type games. And for every team that's become a champion in the A7FL, the fall and improving in the fall specifically, whether it's by players, by repetitions, or by getting together and creating that core, creating that chemistry, the fall has been an integral part in the growth of our league. And I'm gonna be honest, guys. I was always just a little jealous watching the Vegas guys do it, and we're sitting here, sitting on our thumbs, basically, nothing to do but watch them. So I talked to a couple of the guys from the Renegades, guys from Animals, guys from BIC, the U, and even maybe Snow Tribe. And the Baltimore guys always talk about having a fall. We'll see what they do. I don't know if they want to. Is somebody using a vacuum? What's that sound? Sounds like somebody's at the beach. There's like waves rolling in. Is that me?
Nope.
No, I
Still
don't think
hear
it's
it.
me.
I don't know.
Let's see.
But I did want to kind of and I know it's dub. It's always dub. Technology's getting the better of them.
I
I
love
think
his
we
headset,
should take some time to maybe do a more thorough list. But just to give us a topic to talk about, what I was thinking, guys, is primarily whether it's the NBA, NFL, Division One football. There's we could say a first, second, and third teams. So I don't want to put you guys in the position where we have to rank guys with vetting and go back, but just we'll just call it off the dome. We got a
Yeah.
team Dub, a team Chris, and a team Corey, all A7 teams. And if you guys want, maybe we do it a draft style. Maybe we just throw the idea in the garbage because we don't have to. But if I were to ask you, who are your all off the top of the dome guys of the 2025 season, would you guys be interested in drafting a team to give guys props off the top of the dome? And maybe we can have the fans chime in to see what their thoughts are.
I'm good with that.
Sounds
I
very
know
intriguing.
I've got some players that I really like, and believe it or not, quite a few of them are outside of the Vegas division.
They usually are. Chris, in the off season when we were drafting like teams to beat the Insomniacs, I think we started with a teammate of mine that I just played with this year. All right, so Chris, you said yes first.
Yep.
You get first pick, but let's start on the defensive side because everybody's waiting for us to pick the quarterbacks and the running backs and the wide receivers.
Yeah.
So let's make them wait for the money positions. But the all Vera defensive team, who would be the guy that you mentioned first here on the other side of the ball?
Look, if I'm going to start a team with a defensive player, Dub already knows who I'm going with. He already knows it's AJ. There's just no other place for me to go. It's a dude that's motor just does not stop, and he is one of the guys that I feel, given the opportunities, would make plays each and every time. I've seen guys stop him, and most of the time when I've seen him get stopped, there's usually a holding involved. Just saying. Just from what I've been, watching throughout the last couple of years. So AJ would be, if I have to go defensive line, he would be the first pick on my defensive line. Corey, why did you mute yourself and disappear? Ask the question, mutes himself and disappears.
I'm here,
Okay.
but my wife's back here, and I think she was on the phone. She was on the phone
okay.
yelling at my kids for being jerks.
Oh, no worries.
So I just wanted to be respectful. Plus, I'm in
No,
a
no
hallway,
worries.
so I'm trying to hide. You know,
Well, it was kind of funny because you asked me, and all of a sudden
I'm
it was
here.
like,
I'm
"So,
here.
Chris, what's your first one?" Then it's
No, and let's keep with the defensive line. I think that's great. So, Dub, you got one, or you want me to go to give you a couple seconds?
Go ahead, Corey.
All right, so I'll steal another Vegas guy. There's a ton of guys that I would love to give credit for. Let me first start by and in between the lines, I fucking hate this guy because he's one of those guys that's really difficult for me, specifically my play style to play against, because he's so fast around the edge, even on those timing routes that I like to do when I have no blocking. He breaks the timing because he's so quick. But shout outs to Olajuwon Ole Bell for finally becoming an A7FL champ. Ole and Q Bell started in this league with the Savage, and I mean, talk about the '90s Buffalo Bills. The Savage were always like a play or two, game or two away from a championship, always in the mix. Those guys never had won one, and they're probably the two best players in the history of the early league to have done so. So first, shout out to my guy, but my all Corey team, the first guy on my D line, man, Chris Cunningham is something else. And I mean, he's going up against Dave Valley, and making the plays that he did consistently. The only thing that I didn't see him do is make an interception because he was chasing Sterry Codrington down from behind, putting pressure on him constantly. And if it wasn't for the quickness of the way that BIC was attacking the Insomniacs defense, I think he would be a bigger factor in that game. And let's be clear, when Trey Robinson, who I think is a great running back and a great player in general, when Trey Robinson ran the ball, he was barely getting any yards. I mean, even the touchdown he scored was a 0 yard gain that he had to fight for. And I think one of the big reasons, and Chris already took AJ McQuaig. I love AJ, and a couple years ago, he was my pick for Defensive Player of the Year. But when I watch that D line, as great as those other guys are, it's Chris Cunningham for me that kind of pops off the screen and would be the first guy on my all Corey A7, well, the all A7 Corey team, because it's not first, second, or third. There's no hierarchy here,
no.
but that would be my guy Cunningham from.
And you stole my when I was going to my second one, he was going to be my second pick.
I think we can overlap, but maybe just to give other guys credit, we don't. So you can mention that he was your first pick, but then your other would be,
AJ was my first, Chris was my second.
Yeah.
It's very hard for me to go away from him and from that defensive line because they were just so damn good.
Yeah, and even in the championship game, BIC was relatively successful when they passed the ball, but their D line was getting decent pressure. Not great, but decent pressure. You got to be safer against Sterry than other quarterbacks.
Well,
But
I mean, you've got to rush.
you
You've got to
run
rush
against
and rush it as a contain rather than just pinning your ears back and coming like most of the time they do.
Exactly.
Dub, who's your pick for defensive line?
Without question, Moses Smith.
Yeah.
As Ken Stansbury said a couple of weeks ago when he was on the show, like, I would definitely try to recruit him and come play for me, but Moses Smith, I mean,
and the thing that kills me is a very young man.
yes.
I mean, that guy is gonna if he stays in the A7, he's gonna be around for a very long time.
That kid is relentless, and
but no, go ahead. I'll say it.
And Corey talked about how Chris Cunningham was always seemingly in the backfield. So was Moses.
Yep.
But again, and this is just how great Sterry Codrington is. Most other quarterbacks, you can avoid one, but you won't avoid the other. In most cases, which again just shows you just how special and just how great Sterry Codrington is. But I mean, when you have those three constantly in the backfield, one of those three is going to get you, with the exception of Sterry Codrington.
Right.
Again, just goes to show his greatness of how Sterry has been an all-time great. And I probably would say Huff in his prime probably would be the other guy that would be elusive, avoiding those three because obviously in his prime we all know how much of a magician Huff, was. So, but my first pick on the line is Moses Smith. Not to in a sense be a homer, but just watching him all year long, you're just like, who is this kid?
I
That that
agree.
that
And to
changed.
piggyback on the Moses Smith thing a little bit, just kind of ties into what I said. You know, it's a unique type of player that you have a D end like what the like the NFL draft would call an edge player, right?
Hmm.
A defensive edge. Whether you run a 4-3 or 3-4, he's the guy rushing from the edge. He reminds me a lot of Ole Bell. That low center of gravity, wrestler build, tenacious, quick first step is just as devastating as any big guy's strength. And look, when you're a 350-pound guy blocking and trying to protect your quarterback, and you have to have the footwork to keep up with a guy like Moses Smith, it's tough to ask
Brutal.
anyone to do.
Brutal. But like I said, the interesting piece was the fact that all three of us picked Insomniac's defensive lineman. That was just a very interesting piece for me. That's all I'm saying.
Well, there's still more if you want to pick more. They do rotate.
Well, I mean, yeah, and the thing about it is there's other defensive players that I think are defensive linemen, I should say, that are worth talking about for sure. But when I looked at these and I looked at the situation with this, um, these three guys, these three gentlemen are very much at the top of my list, and no bones pulled. I'm not trying to be a homer. The other one, and his name escapes me as soon as I say this. You guys will know who I'm talking about, but the defensive end for the Animals.
Yeah, Trey Baskerville.
Yep,
Hmm.
Trey is another one that is right up there on high up on my list that I think is just another excellent defensive player.
Him and Deontay Anderson as well.
Oh yeah, we can't forget Henderson when we're talking about the line, the front three, four, if you will.
Yeah.
Unlike in the NFL, the front seven, the front three, and the front four, I should say. So Henderson being a linebacker, but there's also other players. But anyway, sorry, Corey, I'm not
No,
trying
yeah,
to go too
no,
far down the line with that.
we're good. So we won't draft. We won't snake draft it. Do you guys want to snake it?
No, it doesn't matter.
So Chris, you grab whoever's the first on your mind for your second pick, and we'll
Since
keep
we've
in
already
order.
done the defensive line,
Well, we could do a full 14 or 15 if we want to include a returner.
well, I mean, if we're going to be looking at it that way, and I'm going to put in three backups to that D line, then Baskerville is going to be one of the ones that I pick for sure, because I think that he is an outstanding defensive lineman, and one that if I've got to be honest, scares the living crap out of me if I've got to block him. So he's definitely high on my list. And if we've already picked the three, he would be my fourth as one of the rotating pieces.
Yeah, I was going to pick Trey Baskerville next if he was available, and so I play against Trey Baskerville. Unfortunately, whenever he's not on my team, it's a terrible situation.
I can see why.
Well, the thing is that he's fast enough to make anybody's life miserable at that position. But my counter to a rusher that gets to me quickly is trying to release the ball quickly. That's
Yeah.
really the only thing that I can do, especially against a guy like Trey, where I'm not going to athlete him.
No.
But the problem is that he's so smart in the way that he plays defensive end. When he makes that adjustment, he goes to then put his hands up, and he actually is like a hook to curl flat defender on the side of the ball that he's playing defensive end on our shortened field. with the angle the shortened angle you have for the quarterback. And for me, he was one of the best defensive backs for the
Yeah.
Animals, because
Well,
when
how
you put
tall
the
is he?
Animals, what?
How tall is he?
I exaggerate. I think he's probably 6'4". But he has longer arms,
I was going to
so
say
his
my
his
point of that
wingspan is
isn't about
probably like
just his
7
height.
foot. Yeah,
Exactly. It's
yeah,
not just about his height. It's the fact that I don't care how tall of a quarterback you are. The only one that I know that could see over him would be Stone King, and
probably.
of course
Yeah,
Dion Fox would be the only
yeah,
two quarterbacks that I could think of that could see over him with no problem because of their height. But the fact of the matter is, most of the quarterbacks in our league are going to be between 6 foot and 6'2" to 6'3", maybe
yeah,
most. Not saying all, most. And that makes it very difficult to see, like you said, that flat to curl.
yeah.
So he becomes not just a defensive end, but he becomes that fifth, if you will, corner.
Yeah.
Because as soon as he puts his hands up, if it's on your side, on his side, forget it. You're not throwing
Well,
around him.
and he takes away those shorter routes, because if you're going to throw the hook or the slant or the drag, and he's in the way, you have
Forget it.
to even if you are getting the ball like off and not getting it swatted at the line, you have to elevate it so you take the velocity off.
Yeah,
The
it becomes a
trajectory of the
lob.
pass changes because he exists. And just look at the impact he had on the Animals season last year. 2 years ago, because last year is the season that just passed. So 2024, the Animals defense was. I don't think it's a
Suspect.
hot take to say that they were a sorry bunch.
Yeah, they're a suspect.
In the
for
playoffs,
sure.
they let up 60 plus twice, and that's why
Yeah.
they lost both of those games. I love that stat. They'll forever be the only 0-2 playoff team ever. But
Right.
they didn't add much to that defense. They added a couple of pieces. The kid Long, who I think is up for defensive rookie of the year, I think he had like 6 picks. He was a good addition, and KP was decent in the back there. They had guys that were okay, right? But the real addition that they made was Trey Baskerville, and they went from a team that was allowing around like 35, 40 points a game to a team that held most teams, including the Watchmen in that playoff game that they had to come back to win, to like around 20. And in the A7FL, we saw the championship game, albeit on a shorter field. These teams are going to score if you can't stop them. And Trey Baskerville, just that addition, rounded out that team into not just being a fun team to watch, but a true contender in 2025.
So, with that said, who is your pick, Mr. Hammond, for?
Well, with him off the board,
Yeah.
I want to give credit where it's due, because a lot of times when you talk about sports, stats are an interesting metric. I may have had more passing yards in the regular season than Scott Hamilton, but I don't think anybody would say that I had a better season than him, right? I think that there's guys that had more rushing yards than RTC, but a lot of guys aren't going to say, just because of the stats, oh, that guy's better. But you know what? For the second consecutive season, Isaac Negron had and led the league in recorded sacks. And say what you want, I mean, a lot of these teams that have really dominant pass rushes rotate, including VIC. But the fact that he's able to get home as consistently as he does in his probably 14th or 15th or 16th year playing, I'm going to say Isaac Negron, because look, say what you want, when you watch him play, there's guys around him, even on that same team of VIC, that seem like they're better players, but none put up the stats like Isaac Negron. And trust me, he texts Gold Gardella on Mondays to make sure that we are aware in the booth. And once again, in the twilight of his career, he put up a season where, at least in his mind, he's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. And I think that he is my second selection for the all A7 Corey team.
See, and I was going to be bad and say that I wanted to start a senior league of players 45 and over.
Yeah.
But the geriatrics might be too much, and it might be too slow of a game.
Well, I'll say this: geriatric in the A7 is around 35, not 45.
Well, yeah, and I'm pushing 55, so I don't know that I could do that. But look, flag football, wife is already okayed. Once they do a senior league, I'm in.
Listen, I know how bad you want to play this sport. One day, Chris, we will get it going for you.
Dude,
Just stay young. Just stay young.
Look, I can't wait another 10 years. I'll be
You can-
63. I can't wait
Yeah,
until
man.
I'm 63.
In 10 years, I'll be 47. So, or 48. I keep forgetting to add the proper number.
Youngster.
I guess. I don't know.
You're a youngster. I mean, most of the
In
guys in
our
the
league,
A7 are young enough to be my kids.
you know what's crazy though? Snoop still goes out there and plays, and he is what, 50?
He plays quarterback. Could he play wide receiver? I don't think so. But with all that said, Dub, you are up for your second pick on the defensive line. You're on mute.
This is more of a thank you for what you've done for the league kind of a pick, and he goes out a champion. But I'm taking Big Mo basically just as a thank you for what you've done for this league, and just simply basically this has been your A7FL life. But I'm taking Big Mo because that's the way you always want to go out. You want to go out on top, and Big Mo indeed went out on top. Um, he's been in the thrust of things. He has been endeavored in the rivalry that is the Patterson U and the Trenton BIC. But just as a tribute and a thank you, since he did announce his retirement from A7, I'm picking Big Mo from the BIC.
Man, go out on top. I love that, man. I love that. Good pick.
I guess I guess then I'll have to play forever then. Big. The best part about the championship for Big Mo was that his family was there to celebrate with him. Shout out to Sema, who I think Big Mo learned a lot from, becoming the warrior that he is. And if you have Big Mo explain it to you, because I forget some of the stats, so I may be kind of misquoting it directly. But in the I think 11 years he's been in the league, he's been in 7 championship games and won now 4 of them. Chiefs,
Nice.
you twice, BIC. That's like some Tom Brady percentage of getting to the championship game, where he's more likely to make it to the championship game than an A7 quarterback is likely to complete any pass. He will forever go down as one of the greats, and his origin story is awesome. His first ever game plays against Andrew Pilato and the Chiefs. Andrew punched him in the face on the first play. This was before we had TV deals, and punched him in the face first play in the trenches. It was a common occurrence for Andrew Pilato, the Chiefs' offensive lineman. The second play of the game, Mo just cold cocked him right back. And by golly, they became such great friends the next season.
I was just gonna say.
The next season, Big Mo started for the first year with the Chiefs, and I think he was with the Chiefs for like 6 or 7 years. And they started a fast friends relationship after punching each other in the face. What an A7 story!
You know what?
Don't tell our sponsors.
Friendships start in weird situations, and that's just one of them. I mean, weirder things have happened for sure. So, Corey, you've started this with the defensive line. We've given 6 names. Where are we going next?
All right, so yeah, let's move on. Let's do linebackers / safeties. We each get one, and then we each grab 2 DBs, and then we move on to the other side of the ball.
So wait, are we going when you say that? Are we going to pick one? Like, since it's my pick, am I picking one linebacker and then 2 DBs? Or am I just picking one linebacker right now?
Yeah, I think for expediency's sake, that might be fun too. But I mean, when any of us are mentioning a player, everybody just fill in the color for the nomination.
Okay, well then, if that's the
Why
case,
not?
I'm taking some more Insomniacs. I'm going to be a homer, and I'm going to go with two of the guys that I really, I love watching because I think they're fantastic. Yes, Danye Lyons is going to be one of my cornerbacks. Prime will be my other cornerback, and then Mr. Dark Kent himself will be my linebacker. I will let one of you guys pick Mr. Henderson, so I know you will pick him.
I mean, he was getting in on all those plays, but he was missing those tackles at first. I'm sorry, Deontay. I'm just joking. No, but listen, Danye, his impact in the championship game is felt in his absence on the 3-on-1. The fact that we're talking about the 3-on-1 the way that we are about that game, and that not having him able to get any but the one chance just shows his impact, period. And I mean, it's unfair to kind of dial it down to just a few plays because it's really hard to be a corner in one-on-one coverage against Kason Campbell or Ashante Worthy. But I don't think that I've seen anybody do a better job in a meaningful game than Danye Lyons in not this most recent championship, but the previous year. And even in the game a couple weeks ago, he was there a lot of the time when he needed to be. And
well, I mean, the reason why I picked him, and I don't want to go too deep into this because we only got 28 or 38 minutes. Doesn't sound like it sounds like a lot, but really isn't. The reason why I picked him specifically, and I have no problem with saying this, is that his big game play potential on both sides. What I mean by that is what he can do defensively, but also what he brings in the return game. Because we talk about throw-off guys. Well, when we get there eventually going on the other side of the ball, Danye is my returner. He's already on my team. I don't have to worry about it.
not a bad pick at all. Not a bad pick at all. And
I could sub if he's tired. I could sub Prime with him, and guess what? We don't have that far of a fall off on the return game. That is.
Yeah, I had a good conversation with Shannon Allen after the game, and he's a fun rookie to keep your eyes on because of all the things I can judge a kid for when they're first joining this league. Hunger and ambition are a big factor in how that player is going to evolve over time.
And he's got both.
He wants to be a bigger, more important part of the A7FL. And for his first year to kind of make the impact that he had was huge, especially for a rookie. And I'm excited to see how he develops as a player and how he evolves in the A7 because the journey for an A7FL player is interesting a lot of times because we mentioned it already a lot. A lot of guys that are natural wide receivers are kind of shuffled in on the defensive side to play corner. And a lot of times
I was one of them.
Yeah, and a lot of times those guys, because of their understanding of the wide receiver position, they stand out on that defensive side of the ball as well. And they do the tricky things like anticipate routes or have the hands to make convert
because
those.
we see the breaks, and a wide receiver can fake you out when you're covering them. There is not if you break down the basics of football and the wide receiver tree, there's only 9 real routes that guys run. I mean, if you throw in a 10 for a sluggo, if you throw in an 11 for a
double moves is like the 10th move. Is
exactly.
The 10th route. Yeah.
So the thing about it is, if you understand what they're trying to do to you, as a wide receiver, when I was playing in flag, I played with the Pirates, and I was playing wide receiver, and they're like, dude, we need you at cornerback. I had 6 picks in 3 games. So, I mean, it's one of those situations where you start to understand the routes and what they're trying to do, and it's easy to jump the routes. And especially in flag, we didn't have a lot of quarterbacks that looked off safeties and corners. So if you had a guy that was staring you down, okay, you knew the ball was coming, undercut the route.
Yeah.
You knew what the wide receiver was doing, just freaking undercut it. Not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and you know, look at the championship game. The interceptions that kind of really turned the tide of the game. The first one was an all instinct play by Matt Riddick. And Matt Riddick is a wide receiver. He's really not a corner.
All you're doing is paying attention to the wide receiver and where his breakdown is.
Yep.
That's all you're doing. So the thing about it is one of the wide receivers that I always admired because he ran every route like he was breaking down, Marvin Harrison. He understood the fact of running his routes compact. And if you want to be a wide receiver in this day and age and you want to understand that, watch any game film from this gentleman and pay attention, because he ran a lot of his routes like he was being broken or like he was breaking down. And what it allowed him to do is cornerbacks, as soon as they saw him shuffle his feet, would step up and he could blow right by them.
Exactly. So I guess for my 3, I'm going to start at corner for the Silk City Animals. I think his name was Robert Long. Could be Justin Long. Doesn't matter. He burst onto the scene, and he was really back there to just catch balls that were thrown his way. He's a rookie. And while I was missing a couple of the first games of the season, and Rob was doing the color all by himself, he kind of jumped on Long as one of the guys that he was, that was popping off the film, and trying to be a little bit diverse. I think including him in here is big, because what he allowed the other side of the defense to do is kind of rotate those guys that would sometimes be in on offense. And although KP and Manny Diaz and Divine Epps are just good football players, they can play the corner position. You didn't really see Long going too much in on the offensive side, which meant that they could rotate those offensive and defensive guys in at that other corner spot and never worry about them running out of steam to then go out and make a big play on offense. So for my first corner, I'm going to go there. And, we already mentioned Matt Riddick, and I do love the guy, and he's a big-time football player. But he did only really show up in the playoffs. He played in that first game against the Renegades in Jersey. He missed the Sickwood game, and then, had the huge impact in the championship game. So I don't really want to mention him or any of the guys that he kind of took reps from, including Sterry Codrington, who played a pretty good corner when he was asked to, especially in the 105-degree heat or 110-degree heat against Sickwood. Another guy. It was 105?
It was 105.
Yeah, you ask these guys, it's approaching 200.
Well, like I told them, it ain't gonna be like your home. You might have that nice moist heat and think, oh well, at least it's not, Vegas is just a dry heat. When you're playing in it, it just dries you the hell out, and you have nothing left. Your energy is zero.
Yeah, it's a whole different ask to go out there and do what they were doing. Especially BIC down with as little guys as they had, the Animals with as little guys as they had. Shout out to those guys for just surviving. Since we're just doing off the top, I'm really struggling deep within myself to try to find like one of those hidden gem kind of guys. Another honorable mention: Drew Ruffin gave my guy Anthony
Well,
Service
hold
the
on.
business.
We can't do honorable mentions. We need your starting guys.
I know.
We
I
only
just wanted
got
to mention.
30 minutes left. We
Yeah,
need your starting
I know.
guys.
I'm
No honorable
just
mention.
I'm filibustering so I can get to it. Because I don't want it to be all BIC and Insomniacs. So I will say Drew Ruffin from the Crush.
Okay.
My guy had 3 picks on Anthony Service in that regular season game, and is a
So
pretty
is
good
that
corner
your
himself.
second corner?
Nope. I'm gonna go with the guy who still wants to tell us something that we don't know yet, because he's yelling it currently at the camera as we speak, and it's William Carswell.
Oh yeah.
And when we
And
did our top,
by the way, he's my third corner
oh shit,
without a shadow of a doubt. And so I'm glad you picked him, because I could tell you without a shadow of a doubt, if you didn't pick him, I know Dub was going to.
And I feel bad for Dub, but I want him to go deep in his bag for different guys, maybe from.
Let me tell you, he is my first pick for safety. By the way,
I'll tell you a couple plays that I saw that just supplanted. Remember, Sterry Codgerton was streaking out up the sideline on that short field,
yep,
with nobody in front of him. Yeah, guess who hawked him down? It's
Oh,
William
yeah.
Carswell.
Yeah,
And you know what's funny
Megatron
about,
is no joke, dude. Don't sleep on Megatron.
What's funny about William Carswell is we mentioned him last year in our top 50 in the returners, because he was perfect 2 for 2, 100% for the gold.
Yeah.
Now, if the gold had him this year, I think still, at least in the gold's development, we would have missed the opportunity to see him do some special things. So I'm glad the way things went the way they went. But he went from being just outside the top 50 for barely putting stats up because they just popped off the screen to, my God, he rose dramatically up
Corey,
those charts.
Let me tell you something that both of you guys should hear. Carswell is a hell of an A7FL player. He's a hell of a flag player. But good God, put pads on that man, he will knock you into next year. I had the pleasure of having him on my team, and I say pleasure because at safety, dude will bury you. That's all I'm going to say. He will bury you. He will stand over you and laugh about it. He does not care. He is a hell of a football player, and that is a great pick. And by the way, for me, when we move on, he's my safety. Just saying. Go ahead, Corey.
Well, and we were kind of doing the safety and linebacker as one position. So what I'm gonna do is what BIC did. And instead of having that extra guy to play, I'm just gonna send extra pressure. And for me, what I want to do is give a shout out to my boy Damon Smalls, who, I don't know, we could say he's a linebacker. He kind of more played defensive end, but the big guy for the Renegades, and no, not Dondre Haynes. Number 1, Damon, the notorious enormous Smalls. Bro, he was a monster. And whether he was playing defense, whether he was out there playing like just playmaker, that was a monster. And I think when you saw what he did at rushing the quarterback, fuck it. I'm throwing linebacker out the window.
That's your linebacker?
That's my linebacker. I'm just kind of throwing linebacker out the window. I don't even need one. I'm just going to get that third defensive lineman. We're rushing whoever the quarterback is. And fuck it. I'm breaking my own rules.
Okay.
Whatever. But
okay.
I'm trying to not have it be all BIC, all Insomniacs. It's okay if it ends up being that. They're 2 great teams for a reason.
Yeah.
But man,
we'll see. I'm sure that next season will be very interesting.
NES was an impact player for the East Orange Renegades this year, and one of the big reasons, literally and figuratively, that they were able to scare the bejesus out of the brothers in Christ. That's for sure.
Gotcha. Dub, your 3?
Okay, well, as far as my 2 people, in the backfield. One guy I'm taking, obviously,
2 corners.
my 2 corners. Mr. Three and Out, it's him, Mr. Vincent Thompson, aka Jimmy, who really a lot of time really gets no shine because he's overshadowed by Prime and Tanye. But
Yes.
when he's back there, he makes you
Oh,
say
dude.
hello.
Yes.
And plus my other guy, even though he's more of offensive, but the job that Ashanti Worthy did playing in the quarterbacks, the times he had to go Iron Man, certainly Indianapolis, certainly in Vegas, certainly you kind of forget how versatile Ashanti Worthy is and just how much of a football player he is and just how much of a ball hawk he is because, again, don't be fooled by the height, but Ashanti Worthy can go up there and get the ball. He is what we call a ball hawk, like Ed Reed was for so many years in the Pettit League. But Mr. Thompson and Mr. Worthy are
No lies
my
told.
are my backfield. And as far as the man in the middle, um, he didn't play a lot this year, so I can't pick my guy who I would normally pick, which is one Ricardo Freeman, aka the Wolverine. So
Oh, that dude is friggin'
he
man.
is,
Him in his prime. Can you
yes.
imagine him in his prime? Now, hear me out on this. Imagine him in his prime, Dark Kent and Henderson.
That's scary.
Dude, that if you're playing in the NFL, tell me those 3 guys aren't going to scare the living shit out of you.
The front, like I said, the front 4 will be doing a lot of feasting because those 3 covering the middle will be
My God.
man. But as far as my linebacker goes, I'm picking a Ramsey, and I'm picking Robert Ramsey.
He ain't missing tackles, I can tell you that.
No, he's not.
He's not missing tackles.
No,
You better run to
Yeah,
the ball because
no.
he's going to be flying to the ball.
Robert Ramsey from the stuff. He is my guy in the middle, playing behind that big mass up front.
Well, and I've already said Coswell is going to be my safety. I don't know what Corey has planned for safety. That's my safety. That's who I'm going with. Because I know with Prime, Danye, and if I need him to walk down to cover that 3rd wide receiver, I have no problems.
All right, I'm gonna do the same thing Dub just did because I don't know if this guy will have the stats to be the guy at wide receiver. But I'll tell you one thing. This guy can play that position too. But what I did see in the championship game are a ton of plays in the run game that Eric Shuford made. It's Shufford or Shuford. I always double correct myself. All right, I did it right. See, I wanted to correct myself. I thought I was wrong, but I'm finally right. So Eric Shuford, his knowledge of the game just means he's in the right place at the right time. And whether he's blocking, tackling, obviously catching, running the route, or intercepting the pass, he's usually in the right spot at the right time. I'll say the most ridiculous play all season, because I really didn't believe that it happened, was when the guy from the Animals, I'm pretty sure it was KP, went up and snatched that ball that Munchie had misjudged. And the only reason that happened was because I don't think Shuford knew that somebody was right behind him, or he would have secured the catch. But for me, if we got to do a linebacker safety type of deal, give me a guy that's going to make the play 10 times out of 10 and a half. And say what you want about anything else. If he's not picked up at wide receiver, he probably deserves to just on his talent. But put him on my
wait till
team.
we go to that side of the ball. I got some guys.
That's what I'm saying. There's plenty.
But I will say, as far as an honorable mention, since Corey likes to break his rules, I will say an honorable mention of another guy that I would put back in my safety would be Adam Stanford from Sick With It. He quietly had a very, very
Very
solid
good season.
playing safety, complimenting Deion Southern in that
Yes.
secondary for Sick. Adam Stanford,
Would agree.
honorable mention for me.
Would agree. So are we done with the defensive side of the ball? We moving over to the offensive side of the ball now?
I think it's time.
Okay.
I think it's
So
time.
where are we starting?
Let's start with the most important part of the offense, which is the offensive line. That's something that I make the kids that I coach say in unison. I in the beginning of the season, I explain to them the most important part of the offense is the offensive line, and because it's such a shit job for a kid that wants to play running back, but he's probably better blocking. You got to remind him every day that he's more important than whoever the running back is. So what's the most important part of the offense? Offensive line.
The
And-
trenches.
and-
That's where you win it.
So my first pick, of course, is going to be Kenny Mack. Can't go wrong there.
Enough said. But on those rocket screens that went for touchdowns, guess what other team was running rocket screens in the championship game? The only other available team. They didn't score on them.
Mm-hmm.
When your blockers get out in front and get to the second and third level in a 7-on-7 league, you're going to win all but 2 of your games in 3 years, which is what the Insomniacs did.
Well, I got one for you. When you've got a guy like Kenny Mack that is covering throw-offs on 3-on-1s, that should tell you something too.
That should tell you that the Insomniacs beat teams by too much and have too much fun in the regular season.
All I know is if I see Kenny Mack coming down at me, I'm going the other
side.
laying the hell down. So, Dub. Well, no, actually, Corey.
Yeah, I guess we'll do them one at a time.
Yeah,
so,
who you got?
Dave Valley's off the board. He didn't play all season, gentlemen. And it was a shame.
Yeah, I find it hard to...
Because he's that dude.
He is. But I think Kenny Mack is that dude too. But I'm saying if Dave Valley didn't play, if you're not taking Dave Valley, who are you taking?
No, that's what I'm saying. Josiah Sal played a decent amount for Sick with it, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did, yes.
Because he was supposed to not play.
He missed the first game and then played the rest of them.
Yeah, because he was supposed to not play, and in my opinion, that ended up being that would have been a bigger loss than some of the other ones that happened for Sick. His athleticism and his ability to play other positions is fun, but when he commits to playing defensive and offensive line, he's one of the guys to mention for sure. And he has the elite strength, but he also has the understanding of leverage and how to use his weight. Because there's tons of big guys that play offensive line. The difference between a guy that gets beat on the first move and a guy that can stay and hold the block is how he uses that weight. And I think Josiah Sal is going to be a good, A7 all-Corey team for me.
Yep. Dub?
Well, sticking with the Oos theme, of course, Big Wes.
Damn it!
Well, I mean,
damn it!
You took the Cornhusker. Corey took the Commodore, so I'm taking the Oos.
Yeah, you should.
I'm keeping the family. I mean, just the way.
Just think about that offensive line. If they were truly an offensive line,
2 Ooses and
together,
a Cornhusker.
Oh my God. That would be literally and trust me when I say I've spoken to all these guys, and the personalities and the actual way these guys are just, if you talk to them, you would never know. If you knew size of these guys and just talk to them on the phone and how soft spoken they are and how easygoing they are.
Especially Sal.
Yeah. Sal, look, yeah, I freaking walked up to him like, dude, I love watching you play. And the genuine look I got and the thank you that I got was
very, very humble.
Next level.
Very humble.
Very. I mean, this guy is just one of those guys that if I could coach I would love to have him on my squad because this dude is just, he's so coachable. He's so easygoing. He's listening. He keeps his mouth shut. He just does what comes natural for such a big man. And he is so damn athletic. It's unreal.
And one of the roles I think that people don't realize is just as important as the leader of teams are the guys that can obviously show their own amount of leadership through their actions. But when you got a guy like Sal who's not there to just dictate or control or have it be about him, it allows for a guy like Canyon Stone King to grow in that leadership role. And having guys like a Sal that's just there to play and not there to talk or control
He
the
is,
every
don't
moment.
get it twisted though, Corey. He is a silent leader that when he needs to speak, his voice is heard.
Oh,
Well, the most impactful thing that you can say as a football player is an action, not a verb or a noun.
No,
You know what I mean?
Sal is the type of player that when you watch him on the sidelines, he is coaching up his players. He is understanding what the offense, or excuse me, the defense is trying to do, the defensive line is trying to do. He understands all of that. So he is talking to his guys in a way to make them understand how they need to go out and be one squad. And he is a very much a leader when he needs to be. That's why I said I would absolutely bring him on any team that I was putting together because I know that he would lead that offensive line. If I had him, Kenny Mack, and Big Oos, dude, forget it. Forget it. Game over. I've just won the trenches. Period.
I got a hot take. Maybe ruffle some feathers. You guys ready?
Good.
go ahead.
Oos is still one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
I think he had a down year, in my opinion. He
I
dominated.
think-
He dominated the regular season games that I saw, but
Mhm.
against the Animals, he was struggling. And against BIC, he wasn't as dominant as he was in.
Are
in
you talking about
2024.
Sal?
Next one about Big West.
No, Wes.
You're talking
Oos.
about Big West? Okay.
And again, he's still one of the best in the league. But I think that he had a less impressive season this year, especially in those big games, because this happens to a lot of guys. So it's not like he should like hear this and be offended. But that Animals defensive line, when they still had the life, they were giving him the work specifically. And there's a specific play where, and I remember because they posted it to the A7 feed. I was commenting over it, and I said, "Say what you want about the visual here," and it was Oos holding on to Trey Baskerville for dear life, and I was giving credit to the footwork from the quarterback because I was trying to be positive. But I will say this: the insomniacs with a bad taste in their mouth will lead to things like Wes, Big Oos, having a bounce back year too.
Oh, big time.
And I bet you that's a scary sight to see.
The bigger thing that you've got to understand when it comes to some of these players, and I'm not just talking about Insomniac players, I'm talking about players in general. All of football players have egos. Corey, I don't have to preach to you about that or anybody else that's listening. Anybody who's been a football player understands the fact of having that ego. And the biggest thing about that ego is when you have holes in that ego for a season, I can guarantee you your next season, that ego is going to be intact. So what I would be afraid of more so with most of the players that are playing for next season is what you just said about Wes, and just be afraid of what he's going to bring to the table. That's all I'm saying.
Do you guys want to keep doing O linemen or?
No, let's move on. We only got 10 minutes. Let's move on.
And shout out to K-Wack, but it's more what he does in the DMs, I guess. Anyway.
Yeah.
Why did he do that? But let's move to a tight end. And let's just come to one collective tight end that we can agree upon, because it is an underserviced position in the A7.
It is.
It
so
is.
who do you have?
I will throw out a guy that just, only a couple of plays, but he is a monster to have to deal with. And I don't even know his name, but number 10 from the Buzz, that big, enormous guy, in games of the week against BIC, he was given Kason Campbell, Sarah Codrington, and Ashante Worthy something to think about when they had to consider what they had to do, bringing that man down.
That would be Mr. Gabriel Williams.
Yes, that is him. And I don't know, man. We could discuss it, but when we played against them, the Hawks, there was no film of it. It wasn't aired. It was one of my the other victory that I had. So that was fun for me. But man, he's a problem, and he was giving our defense a little bit of trouble. We had to adjust.
So can we agree that he would be the tight end?
I mean,
I don't have a problem with it.
We could go to Damon Smalls, who played more running back and wide receiver, but he's a big ass dude. We could do Dondre Haynes from the Renegades as well. The
only reason why I say if we can all agree with it, because we only have 8 minutes, if we can all agree with it, I'm good with it.
I have no issue.
I have no issues with it either.
Even though I do have my own guy at tight end, but I have no issue with Mr. Williams.
Yeah, I have no issue.
Throw the name out, and then we'll move on.
Okay. There's the name.
Be Matt Murphy.
Yeah, Schwank.
Oh, that's his government. That's Schwank's government name.
Schwank is actually his last name.
Yeah, Schwank is actually his last name.
So what did you just call him, Matt Murphy?
No, Matt Murphy is from Sickwood.
It's Sickwood.
Okay. And then Chris says Schwank, and then we're moving on. All right, let's do running backs.
Oh boy.
Okay.
There's a lot to choose from.
So for me, I've got to stay with RTC.
I think anybody that's ever watched this show and is currently watching this show knows all the things that we can say about him. I do appreciate the fact that he made the trip, played, and that I was able to say that the RTC had a flat tire. But he was still probably the best rusher by yardage at the running back position in the game.
Yep.
So
who's your running back?
All right. So if you watch the first game of the season, you saw him. And then there was a couple of the games that he would still make big impact plays, but he kind of flew under the radar because, unfortunately, the Hawks, we didn't have the season we wanted this year. Call me a homer, whatever. But Delron Simmons, I think when you look at the raw...
No, Simmons was fantastic.
When you look at the raw stats, because he had 177 to start the season off, I think he had a run of like 80, 50 game. He had a game where he had like 110 total yards because he caught a touchdown from me. He's up there in not just total yardage from running backs, but just pure rushing yards. And I think he's one of the best running backs in the league. When you just watch what he's able to do, he's a monster. And he actually, he's still on the path of trying to basically become a professional running back for one of these leagues. And when you look at him and realize that all those rushing yards came when he was playing both ways every game, he's a hell of a player. Delron Simmons, running back for the Hawks.
There you go. And because we only have 6 minutes, Dub?
Under the radar guy for me who really does not get enough credit, but he was very, very good this year. I'm going to pick Sean Russell from the Stealth. Big number 1, who was very tough to tackle and runs with a lot of power.
And a lot of passion.
Yes. No, but big Sean Russell from the Stealth. Definitely a huge contributor for the Silver State Stealth this year in the Nevada division. Tough guy to
So-
tackle. Very tough to tackle.
Now we have wide receivers.
Each guy gets 2 wide receivers. There's plenty to go around. So, Chris, you start us off.
Well, I've got to go with my boys. And what sucks is I really want, because I think we should have 3 wide receivers, not 2.
Just do it. Do it.
My
it.
3 wide receivers in no order are going to be, and it might surprise some, because I love David Clark. Don't get me wrong. That's my guy. But with that said, my 3 would be Munchie, Darren Palmer, and Worthy. If I had those 3, you're not stopping my offense.
Yeah. I'll sign up for play quarterback there. I might be the backup. You might get somebody better. There's probably a long line.
Anybody would.
My 3. Well, let's start with my first 2. My first 2 are going to be the record setters,
Of course.
and they were setting some records. Now, Kason Campbell set the record, I believe, for actually like
Yards, catches, and touchdowns. I think.
taking.
And don't forget, we still got quarterback to go, so
Yep.
we got to go.
Taking statistics. Kason Campbell, I think, broke every record, except for one, and I'll explain that in a second. So Kason Campbell, obviously, but the receptions record in a season, Kason didn't break until the first playoff game, because the regular season record was set this year as well. He had even more than Kason Campbell. Yeah, and that's my guy, Zuriel Wright, the wide receiver, that went a little too far in a celebration, one might say. I don't know if you guys seen that clip. Shout out to my guy. And if we're going to third guy, I'm going to go with Kyle Ward from the Renegades.
Good
And
pick.
this is a guy that, for whatever reason, always gets overlooked. He's not a talker. He's not a look at me guy. But the Renegades don't even play BIC in the playoffs because they lose to the Chaos if Kyle Ward wasn't on their team. And I think that there's not enough praise that we could heap on him because he's been one of those guys for years. Even on teams where there's other names on the roster that get maybe a little bit more attention, he's been the leading receiver for you, BIC, right? So those are my 3. 2 record setters and Kyle Ward.
Dub?
Well, since you didn't take Davik, I'll take him.
Okay.
8 touchdowns in 3 championship games. Says
Mr.
something.
Richardson.
I mean that's just what it is.
Friggin' huge.
Yeah. I'm gonna be another homer, and I'm gonna take Derek Knight from the goal because Derek Knight, when he was there, made some very big catches
Huge.
for the gold.
Huge.
To extend plays and extend drives, and of course the newcomer, Mr. Richardson from Sickwood, Siobhan Richardson, who was a tremendous compliment to Darren Palmer.
Huge compliment. Huge compliment.
I mean,
Yeah, he was good. He's good.
he was really, really good.
Dude, how many touchdowns did he have as a rookie?
I don't know, but
A lot.
I mean, dude, between him and Stone King, I mean, and then when you throw in the fact of having DP, I mean, it's just incredible as far as what that team was able to do. That's all I'm going to say. So now, last but not least, QB. We got 1 minute. 1 minute. So for me, are we only picking one QB or are we picking 2?
I mean, you pick one and then watch what I do when it's my turn.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go with a quarterback that I know that can do it all. Kind of a Swiss Army knife of QBs, and I gotta go with Scooter. I know that he didn't have the best of playoff games. I know that he didn't have the best of championship games, but when healthy, I mean, dude could do it all. And if I've got Darren Palmer, if I've got Munch, if I've got Ashante Worthy, I want Scooter throwing them the passes. I'll be honest.
Fair. Almost, I think he set the record for yards.
Well, he set the record for touchdown passes.
No. My guy.
Okay.
Set the record for yards. He had over 500 rushing yards and led his team, I think, in rushing. And had, I think, 40-something touchdowns and 0, not just interceptions, but turnovers. So I thought you were going to pick Sterry Codrington. And my joke was going to be, I picked Sterry Codrington twice. Because the type of season that he had, the BIC's offensive line was not as good as it was last year. And that's
Correct.
the year that he had this year with a worse line and no running help. Shout out to Trey Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
That is a season. Sterry Codrington.
Okay. Dub?
I'm not going to pick the obvious. I'm going to go different because just the things that he did to improve this team, and who knows what they could have had if certain catches were made and they didn't turn the ball over. But I'm going Anthony Service from the Renegades. Very impressed with the way he played quarterback this season in giving the Renegades a lot of respect this season. I mean, they had the BIC on the ropes twice, and some might say should have won both games, but didn't. But I'm going Service. Even though it's very hard for me not to pick David Tender when David Tender's right there. But
I was going to say, when I asked, you notice I asked about 2 quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had the 2 quarterbacks, the first one would be Scooter, second would be David Tender, period.
Tender's nice.
Those would be my 2.
Well, we hope you guys. Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I hope you guys enjoyed this. A little. I guess you can call this the all A7 team, kind of like the all pro team, first, second, third team.
The all off the top of the dome A7
yes.
team. We'll definitely go into more further depth with this. But if they're not on the top of the dome, they probably weren't deep in the playoffs.
Right.
Or didn't have that great of a season anyway, to be honest.
Yeah, but that's just being real. That's just being real. So before everybody listens to this, and once you get through it all, let me just say a disclaimer right now. If you didn't get picked, let me pull for Munchie. Be better. That's all I'm going to say. Be better. That's all you need to know. Be better. And then maybe we would pull you off the top of the dome. But be better. And if your team wasn't good, get better friends.
Well,
I can't argue with that.
Well, on that note, for Corey, for Chris, and earlier special thanks to Derek Duncan for joining us. We hope you enjoyed episode 142. We will see you next week for episode 143. And we'll see you on the other side of the ball. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, folks.